I'm sure, shot from rainwater dripping down in there for the last 10 years or so. So I need to gut these doors and either put in manual hardware for being able to roll the window up and down, or replace the electric stuff. I did mark the places where the controls would go if I want to go that route. Let's see, up in here, just, super utilitarian stuff, nothing fancy. These are just cheap plastic cup holders that I've zapped in here so that we've got places for beverages. I made these little panel inserts here. I took the stereo system out of here because it was crap, and the wires were all kind of janky, and people had done some questionable stuff with the electrical system on this rig long before I got it. So we just used the system in the back. But again, I've got another one of these panels up here. This is ultimately going to be for some off-road illumination. I've got a couple LED light bars and other things that I'm going to put on this beast because I'm a goofball. Not really that it's even necessary, but if you can, why the hell not? So right now, this basically just gives me voltage. Now this is isolated from the rear power system. This is just the battery in the hood for starting. And pretty much that's the only circuit that does anything right now. The rest of these are going to control some of those lights I mentioned. I would love to replace this steering wheel at some point. I hate this crappy foam that it separates, and it's not a good feel if you're driving long distances. I'd like to put a nicer steering wheel in here. I got a little tire gauge that's magnetic and a little Bluetooth thing if I want to talk hands-free, also magnetic. I got this larger mirror that just clips on over the stock one. Again, I think, $8 on Amazon or something like that. Let's see, I put the handle on backwards on the driver's side because I'm a big guy and my leg would press up against it as I'm driving if it was facing forward. And these shitty Dorman door handles seem to be about the only ones you can get these days. It's cheap casting and they don't hold up particularly well in general. They tend to break over time, but flipping it around the other way gets it so that my leg isn't resting on it all the time. And I can just push straight down on it to open the door, which is not too shabby. Got a little towing hookup, a little magnetic spot to stick my phone. Got those here and here. Again, age of COVID, so we've got the masks at the ready for if we need to go places. And of course, you got to have your box wine to stay sane. So it's just leftover stuff from our most recent trip. Haven't completely cleaned this thing out yet. A couple other things that are kind of fun, especially if you got kids or what have you. This is just a little kitchen magnet bar kind of thing. You'd stick it on your kitchen cabinet and stick knives or whatever, or you might put it in your shop and stick screwdrivers and tools and whatnot to it. But in this case, our phones all have these little metal plates that we've stuck on the back of them for like those mounts up front. Well, that works with this too. So the kidlet can borrow mom's phone while we're driving and stick it up to this thing and watch all of his streaming YouTube video game playthrough tutorial videos and whatever. Sit there and giggle in the back and be happy as a clam. We've got the same kind of thing set up back here, and that's so the missus and I can lay in bed at night and watch TV shows or what have you. Laying in bed, it's just the phone's facing straight down at you. So at that distance, which is all of 3.5 feet, it's a pretty good sized screen. And then if you've got the sound coming through the sound system, you can watch movies or do whatever, and it's pretty slick. Let's see. Oh, there's the Fairlane in the background there. That's my baby. I think that about covers it. There's nothing too exciting going on otherwise. Let's go around to the front here. So here I've put in these LED lights, and they work great, incredibly bright, definitely worth the conversion process. I did have to, the size is correct dimensionally, height and width wise. However, if I pop the hood, bear with me a second. Whoop. I don't know if I can show you this or not. Oh yeah, okay. I did have to cut a little of this sort of bulkhead here away with the angle grinder just to create space for these aluminum finned housings that these LED lights come with. They're deeper than the old sealed halogen whatsits. So that's something to consider. And it looks like, I can't remember because it's been a while since I've done this, but I think I made some sort of mounting attachments with just some steel strap, so that I could kind of fabricable together a fitment for this, but they work great. I haven't had any issues. Otherwise, it's all pretty stock. Did an oil change, so I got to put the cap back on. Yeah, pretty much bone stock under the hood. Recently did a light tune-up. Let's see, replaced the PCV valve, cap, rotor, plugs, wires, all that kind of stuff. New coil, that helped quite a bit. If you haven't replaced your coil in a while, or ever, I would recommend it. It's cheap, it's an easy job to do. You got to take the doghouse off and whatnot, but you got to do that, do anything on the engine pretty much. But my power and fuel economy have greatly improved. You kind of figure, well, if she's running, whatever. But if you're getting weak spark, everything is going to kind of run a little less skookum than you might like. So give that a go. Funnel, spare jug of oil down there, just sort of standard stuff. This is that connection I was talking about that runs. So the side terminals, that's the actual main electrical connection for the starting system. But luckily this battery has top terminals as well, and this is the one that runs from the starting battery and alternator circuit back to the secondary electrical system. So that's what allows it to kick over and charge off the alternator for the secondary electrical stuff. And close this up. Got a little LED light bar, a little nightlight deal that I'm going to mount to the bumper here, and that'll be extra goofy. I don't know. I think that about covers it. It's a fun rig. It's a little bit of a head turner because it's kind of goofy looking, but we like it, and it fits right in where we spend most of our outdoors time out there at the Hoh Rainforest. Here I've got a little hole. I used to have, back before I did the conversion, I used to have a little 12 volt accessory charging port in here, and that was so that we could plug in and blow up the air mattress that we had in our tent. Had a little, outboard 12 volt compressor kind of a deal. Took that out because we don't tent camp anymore. We sleep in the van, but should probably cap that off with something at some point. All of the outboard lights, really all of the signal lights in general, headlights, tail lights, turn signals, all of that I've converted to LED bulbs. Strongly recommend that. Makes you way more visible. These little running lights on the side are so bright that if you're driving down a dark trail at night, they'll actually light up the side of the road and the vehicle and that kind of thing, which is pretty good. So again, as I mentioned, she's under a carport right now, starting to clear up, but getting plenty of voltage off the solar, even under cover. Found that to be true out in the rainforest as well. Can be under trees and what have you, and it'll charge plenty good off of these two panels with just sort of the ambient light bouncing around, even without direct sunlight. So I like that. There's little Sasquatches hidden here and there in the camo paint job. This was all just, again, the Rust-Oleum camo in 5-6 colors. bought at the hardware store. And if you want to do a paint job like this, the most important thing, go light to dark. Get all of your lightest colors down. I started with like a base tan and a base very light green, and I think I can show you that a little bit. Yeah, over here there's some spots. This is kind of what the base layer looked like, and pretty much I just did tan, one good pass, and where you would see, this was originally a blue vehicle, where you could see the blue kind of leaking through, or where you didn't get good coverage, then I would hit those spots in particular with the green. Then after that, you can go over it with your pops of color. If you got, like, I've got a little orange and light green here, and then after that it would be like brown and black and that sort of thing. And I just made little bundles of like cedar branches and just stuff that grows right here in my yard, essentially, or across my street, and use that as a spray paint template. You just little sprays here and there, and you get this cool kind of camo effect. It's not perfect. It's the first time I've done it. I think I would do a fair bit better going at it a second time. But of course, the nice thing also is it's a rattle can camo paint job, and it's going to get scraped up by trees going down trails, what have you. And if I need to touch it up in the future, well, that's just a can of spray paint. So, not too bad. I think that about covers it. If you got questions, hit me up, and have fun vanning.